The bereaved mother sat at a small table, sight blurred by the tears that flooded her brown eyes. She was attended by a physician who encouraged her to drink from time to time from a small flask which he held. She had at first refused the potion, preferring to absorb the full brunt of anguish that filled her heart. Now she sipped at the green liquid and rested her head upon her arms folded on the crude table. As if being a widow had not been hard enough, she must now suffer the loss of her only son as well. The form of a young man lay upon a sleeping mat in one corner of the small hovel she had tried so hard to make a home. Several women were hovering about the corpse, weeping as they prepared it for burial.
The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Put his bottles and instruments away in the leather pack he carried. He placed his hand upon the shoulder of the sorrowing mother and wagged his head in helpless resignation. Walking to the door, he opened it quietly and prepared to leave. There, in the early morning light, was the bulky figure of a Roman soldier about to rap on the door. His two companions waited respectfully at the edge of the narrow street. The physician brushed past the soldier, who entered unbidden. As he removed a scroll of parchment and a quill from a round metal case slung about his shoulder, he announced,
By Herod's decree, I am commanded to secure the name of the deceased for the public record.
How did you know my son had died? He died only this morning. Is nothing sacred to the Romans but your records?
News of death takes wings, dear lady. The physicians of this village have instructions to report cases of patients who were dying, even an Israelite.
The soldier recorded the name with deft strokes of the quill, rolled the parchment and placed it back in its holder. Turning to leave, he spoke more kindly.
My sympathy, woman, but perhaps it is better to lose him thusly than to have him die in battle.
With that, he closed the rough-hewn door and rejoined the others. Several women now clustered about the sobbing mother, seeking to render consolation.
This is more than I can bear. First my husband, and now my only beautiful child is gone.
Tall candles, their steady flame appearing to be pasted against the darkness of the room, stood in place around the body of Jehu, young Israelite, dead at 15. Having passed the night in prayer, Jesus and several disciples were returning from Capernaum to the city of Nan to the south. Their journey had brought them in contact with many who sought the healing ministry of the Son of Man. Many there were also whose sole desire it was to behold the miraculous and to feed upon the physical provisions the Lord sometimes made available to them. Of course there were those who, upon hearing the matchless word of Jesus as he spoke to them on the mountainside, became stalwart and earnest believers and determined to follow him. These had accompanied him as far as Nan, forsaking family and friends in their quest for that bread of life which seemed to inhere in the wondrous stranger from Nazareth. One of this group was a former tax collector by the name of Matthew, sometimes called Levi. His encounter with Jesus had been traumatic and brief. Seated at his appointed place for the purpose of garnering taxes for imperial Rome, he had looked up one day, expecting to see yet another Israelite whose coins would be added to the growing pile. Matthew was never the same after that look into the face of divinity. In his consternation, he had heard the simple, clear command, "Follow me." Without a backward glance, Matthew had walked out of his past, completely enthralled by the magnetism of the teacher. It was Matthew who saw the mourners, coffin proceeding their weary, doleful way to the outskirts of the village. It was he, too, who was most surprised at the reaction of the Master as he encountered this procession of death. Tradition would compel one to step aside respectfully. But when Jesus moved into the path of the funeral party and halted it, Matthew could only gaze in open-mouthed astonishment. The silence that followed was broken only by the creaking of the wooden poles of the bier and the soft weeping of the mother of young Jehu. Stepping to her side, Jesus smiled confidently.
"Woman, do not weep. Your sorrow has not gone unseen. Have faith. There is still hope."
Mutterings of disapproval at this intrusion rippled through the funeral party.
Get out of the way, carpenter. Save your words of comfort for the service at the grave.
Rushing past him, Jesus walked to the bier, still borne upon the shoulders of 4 young men. Stretching forth his hand, the teacher touched the rough wood of the casket.
Young man, I say unto you, arise.
Somewhere in the distance, the mournful clang of a funeral bell reverberated upon the stillness. No one dared move. Then, almost imperceptibly, the heavy lid of the casket began a slow upward motion, resting finally in an upright position. A gasp spread throughout the ranks of those who beheld this incredible thing happen. Hands appeared on the rim of the coffin. Knuckles whitened under the pressure of the rising figure within the narrow box. Sitting upright above the startled crowd, Jehu looked about in amazement. Joyfully, the men lowered their burden to the ground. Jesus took the boy's arm as he stepped from the coffin to the firmness of the earth. The mother whose son had been restored threw her arms about him and wept in the ecstasy of the miraculous. Her eyes fell upon Jesus, and she cried, From a heaping mound of earth in the cemetery, a slim trickle of dirt plunged to the bottom of an empty grave.